Hello and welcome to a new episode of Merrill's Monday Market Madness. Coming at you today with an update regarding the Phoenix residential housing market. I'm going to be talking a little bit about prices and whether they're currently rising or falling and what we anticipate to see moving forward. But if you have any questions about anything that might be happening in the market or what might be happening in your area, feel free to comment on this post. I should be able to see some of your comments live here during the video. If I can answer it on the spot, I will. And if I can't, I will definitely get back to you and do my best to answer the question directly. So I like to always start off by looking at a supply and demand metric that we look at called month's supply of inventory. So right now, active in our MLS, we have 12,405 listings. To put that into perspective, so again, all residential listings. So that's townhomes, condos, manufactured homes, and single-family homes. 12,405. So in 2022, early 2022, at the lowest amount we ever hit was around 4,000 active listings. So right now we have 3 times more homes than we did at the lowest point. However, we at the highest point, which was around November of 2022, we had around 21,000 active listings. So we were from in recent high. If you go back to the housing crash in like 2008, 2009, there were 50,000 active listings at a time. So right now, 12,000 is actually a very, very low number. I mean, consider the population of the Phoenix metro area, 5-6 million people, and there's only 12,400 homes currently available for buyers who want to buy. So not the lowest that we've seen it, but down almost in half from how many we had just last November. So not only is it falling, but it's falling fast. Currently pending, we have just under 10,000, 9,983 homes that are currently pending. One thing that we did see in 2020 and 2021 was that we actually had way more pending contracts at a time than we had active contracts, active listings. So right now there's slightly more actives than there are pendings, but that if the trend continues for another month or so, we will probably go back into that where there's actually more homes that are pending than there are that are active. The last 30 days, we've seen 6,634 closings. So the month's supply of inventory number, meaning I'm just taking the actives divided by how many homes sold in the past 30 days, is at 1.87, which is considered a seller's market, meaning that there's just for how many buyers that are buying despite lower demand. So to give you an idea, the month of April, we saw 6,637 homes close. Well, in April of 2022, we saw 9,285 homes close. So the total number of homes selling this April, compared to April of last year, is down 29%. So much fewer, volume, much fewer homes are selling. However, the fewer homes selling, but not with such little inventory, we still have a very low kind of month supply of inventory number. So I'd like to just kind of give you a recap of what some of the April numbers were and how they compared to April of last year to kind of give you some perspective of where the market is compared to a year ago. So again, a year ago, there was next to nothing for sale. Demand was still really high. Interest rates were just starting to go up. But April really hadn't felt a big change in the market yet. The market didn't really start to feel a significant slowdown until like June or July. So even though, again, rates had started to go up a little bit by April, the market was still in a frenzy. So 6,637 homes sold, as I already said. The average price of the homes that sold in April, just take all of them, the average was $553,669. Compared to April of last year, the average price was $592,000. So year over year, average prices are down 6.5%. So, the homes that sold in April this year compared to April of 2022, they did sell for 6.5% less money on average. So that might make you think, well, how could we possibly be in a seller's market, but prices are declining? Well, unfortunately, the year over year average price isn't telling the accurate story. And this is why sometimes the big national news sensational headlines, they don't really help you understand like what's actually happening in the market locally and what's happening at that given time. So year over year, we're down 6.5%. But check this out. In March, the average price was 541. So from March to April, the average sales price actually increased over 2%, or around 2% at $12,000 increase. February was 524. And then go all the way back to December. That was our kind of low watermark. The lowest average sales price that we saw in the Phoenix area was $516,571. So December. So what we saw, right, was the average prices hit about 600,000 in, I think, June, 602,000 in June of 2022. And then they they fell pretty hard and fast down to about 516,000 in December. Well, since December, they've been rising and they're back up to 553,000. So again, like I said, year over year, down 6.5%. But since December, average prices are actually up 7.2% in a very short period of time. I mean, if you figure it's only been 5 months since, or 4 months, or December, anyway, it depends on what part of the month you're looking at, but it's been 4 or 5 months since that time. And so to have already gone up 7.2%, home prices on average since December are increasing by more than 1 percentage point a month. That might not sound like a ton, but if you have a median home of, the median home price right now in the Phoenix metro area is 420,000, and the value is going up between 1% and 2%. Then the value of your home is going up, between $4,200 and $8,400 a month. Not like clockwork, right? It doesn't actually work like that. We have to look at the comps in your area, but just kind of on average, that's what we're seeing right now. So it's still just, and the crazy part is that all of this is with interest rates being in the mid sixes. So interest rates in the mid sixes, but the buyers are still buying, and the demand is still really, really, again, lower than where it was last year. But supply is so low that prices are still rising. So a couple other interesting April numbers to look at. So the average days on market, this number really tells a big difference between what happened this year compared to last year. Average days on market for the 6,600 homes that sold in April was 73 days. The average days on market in April of 2022 was only 27 days. So homes are taking 3 times longer to sell on average right now than they were in April of last year. And then here's another interesting one, the average sales to list price ratio. So what this kind of looks at is, on average, how far below or above the asking price are homes selling for, right? So if someone lists a home for, it depends on the price range as well. But again, just to make the math easy, if someone lists a home for 100,000 on average, what would we expect it to sell for? So right now, of all the homes that sold in our MLS in April, the average sales to list price ratio was 98%. So think of it as, when you see a list price, it depends on the exact home and the scenario, but just on average, that home is probably going to sell for about 2% below what the seller is asking. Compare that to April of last year. Homes were selling for an average of 102% of the list price. So homes were selling for 2% above the asking price. So we have seen a 4% swing there. Buyers are still negotiating a little bit. They are still getting a little bit off of the price, but it's not a bloodbath. It's not, prices are not plummeting. Matter of fact, they're rising, and buyers might be able to negotiate a little bit, but for the most part, only about 2%. And in fact, I remember like pre-COVID, 2019, 2018, 2017, a very typical sales to list price ratio in a kind of normal market, if you want to call it that, but even prices were rising then. The average, it was around 97%. So we're at 98 right now. So buyers are actually even getting a little less negotiation right now as they were even pre-COVID. So inventory continues to be the main problem. There's just for the amount of people who want to buy, even given the interest rate climate, there's just not a ton of homes for sale. We are starting to see more and more homes with multiple offers. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing, on average, the total number of active listings is going down by around 70 per day. Meaning, like we look at how many active listings were on the market 3 weeks ago today, versus how many are there today, right? And then divide that by 21 days. Like how much inventory are we losing on average per day? So it's every day when you wake up, there's 70 less choices. It doesn't exactly work like that. Of course, there are days when inventory rises, like Thursdays and Fridays, for example. We tend to see more homes come on the market while very little homes are going under contract. And then Monday and Tuesday, tons of homes are going under contract and very few homes are being listed. So it's not like clockwork 70 a day, but on average. So I did the math on that and I said, if that trend continued, like if we continued to lose 70 homes a day in the Phoenix area, how long would it take? And it turns out around 6 months. So if that trend were to continue, which I don't anticipate that it will, but if it did, just to put into perspective how hot the market is right now, if it did, everything would be gone in 6 months, and there would be zero active listings on the market. So obviously, I don't expect that to happen. We are kind of in the peak of our buying season right now. The springtime, the March, April, May, June, those are the busiest months for the Phoenix housing market, and really for the housing market across most of the country. So we are seeing, a little bit of a frenzy, and I do think that it'll probably calm down once we get into the peak of July and August, and then into the fall. But I guess the point that I really want to make is I don't expect home values to fall any further. Matter of fact, they've been rising, right? I mean, we hit a low point of 516. Now we're back up to what was it, 553. So not only are prices not falling, they're rising. I think that'll probably stabilize in the fall, given that there'll be a little bit less demand, and I expect supply will probably increase. But I doubt we see a significant drop in prices, given that there's only 12,000 active listings. It'll probably stabilize, and then we're going to be in for a major roller coaster ride next. If we go into 2024 with only around 12 or 13,000 active listings. Again, remember, we went into this year with 20,000, right? Or 19,000 or whatever, and we're already down to 12. If we go into next year with only 12, it's going and if you combine that with the possibility of interest rates improving, we could see a situation next year very similar to what we saw in 2020 and 2021, where there's so few homes for sale and there's just multiple offers on everything. 2021 saw average prices in the Phoenix area increase something like 22%. I doubt we see anything that extreme, but I wouldn't be even remotely surprised if we saw prices rise between 10 and 15%. Given that just since, that might sound like a bold claim, but put this into perspective, just since December, prices are up 7.2% this year. And that's with rates at 6.5%. So we'll see what happens. Don't have a crystal ball, but that is what I am predicting. So I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions, again, you want to know what's happening in your area, your neck of the woods, you want to know what your home is worth or anything like that, I'm always happy to help. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you all have a great day.